Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here. I have another exciting video for everybody today, and this video is all about love stands the test of time. Now, with everything that we are going through right here, right now, this is the most important thing to understand. If we're looking into a system that involves lack, which really has been the antithesis of everything that we have been going through on this planet since the day that we've been born, since the day that we've come upon this planet, everything relating to lack, whether it regards to educational systems, whether it relates to politics, finances, etc., sociological understandings, everything within modern life has been calibrated into the degree representing lack. Lack has really been the greatest program, the greatest scheme that has come upon this planet and has been on this planet for many thousands and thousands of years. Now, there's quite a system, because we are going to get into the power of love here, but we're just going to look a little bit into lack here as well. There is a whole agenda behind this idea of lack. And when you understand what that lack is, you see exactly how ridiculous it is. I've talked about this briefly in other videos in the past as well too, as it relates to lack. Now, the reason why lack is upon the planet is that what is one of the big principles that lack gives many people? Well, it's fear. It's anger. It's sadness. Because it is such an unnatural energy. This is unnatural. This is artificial. This is synthetic. And as we are playing with the system of lack, in order for anybody to try and come upon a planet and bestow this lack in regards to all of these different systems that has come upon the planet, it's very, very ridiculous about how it works. And it works because every single person on the planet, I could probably do this billions of times, but this entire cluster of humanity, in order for them to experience lack, you have to convince them that lack is the natural way of life, which means you have to convince them that they're slaves to lack. You are a slave to lack. You're insignificant, you don't amount to anything, you're worthless, you're no good for nothing, you'll never get anything done, you won't ever become this person, you won't ever become this greatness, you'll become everything that is sick, you'll become everything that is dull, you'll become everything that is weak, you won't amount to anything. This is really the epitome pertaining to our entire system. So basically, looking at the highest, I guess you could say, throne, or the highest rulership pertaining to this planet, is that they understood humans have to convince themselves to be enslaved, which means you can't just go down and enslave a bunch of humans. They have to want to be enslaved. They have to want to be completely contained within this lack. And it's the stupidest thing. It's the most ridiculous, it's the most stupidest thing. You cannot just go down to a planet and say, hey humans, I rule you. Or it's not about an oligarch, right? Saying, okay humans, no, we rule you. No. You have to convince them. You have to convince them that they're slaves. You have to convince them that they need to be ruled. You need to convince them that they need to be in lack. They have to want to be ruled. They have to want to be in lack. This is why it's so stupid. This is why it's funny in a lot of ways as well too. And this is exactly what we have bought into. We have bought into through education, through politics, through finances, through sociology, etc. All of these systems that we use on a daily basis has been built around the lack machine. And that people have to want to be enslaved. They have to want to be conditioned. They have to want to be limited. They have to want to be in these arrays of different beliefs that are making them feel absolutely useless. They're feeling that they're just the lowest of the low. Here's rock bottom, and here's you, even below rock bottom. And so you get into this program. And this is why this program itself is so ridiculous. Okay? That's the lack. That's what lack does to us. Right? Which means because it is such a stupid, ridiculous, unnatural system, it's really, really simple to get past. Because lack doesn't last. It's too unnatural. You're not going to want to lay down and go to sleep in a pit of slime and filth that just has the most putrid of odors imaginable. You're not going to want to do that. You're going to go stir crazy. This is why great empires in the past have risen and fallen, right? If we look at the Roman Empire, risen, fallen. We're looking at Babylon. We're looking at the Sumerian Empire. We're looking at all of these different empires from the past, and they have risen. They had a short amount of time of reign, and then they collapse. Why? Because of lack. Because all empires are created out of this. And they will all die, which means lack is very short-lived. You have to manipulate, you have to convince people that what you're doing is righteous, that what you're doing is majestic, that it is divinity within itself. But then, of course, in order for that to happen, you have to hide lies. You have to conceal the lack. You have to hide the lies from the people. And as soon as the lies become exposed, this is what's happened with every single empire, they die. Okay? This is the weakest, the most base frequency there is. If you are in lack, you are at the weakest level of yourself. All right? And a lot of these people that have created these systems know that. They know that lack is the weakest, the most base thing that you can do. If you're always in lack, you can't do anything. You feel like you're just this little circle right here, and here you are inside a tight square. And each and every single day, the walls get in tighter. They start to move in. The walls are closing in. So now it's time to reverse everything that we know regarding lack. So, everything we know on the planet in regards to systematic mainstream is indeed in lack. What do? We start to follow this. We start to work with love. Because unlike lack, love is natural. It is what you are made out of. Love stands the test of time because it is beyond time. It is beyond space. It is beyond dimension. It is beyond mind. Right? This is why when we try and get into the spiritual conversations, right, and saying that, okay, well, all you guys have to do is become love. Is start to work with love and compassion. Oh yeah, but I can't grasp how that's going to be done. I can't grasp how that can be implemented into my life. Of course you can't, because it has nothing to do with the mind. You're trying to use mind that has been contaminated with lack to try and get to understand this. Good luck with that. You're not going to be able to do it, so don't try. So when you are working together with the idea of love, because it is the most powerful thing in the universe, because it is purity, because it is perfection, you want to work with feeling. You want to feel love, which means you have to open something called a heart, which means you have to work in being caring, compassionate, loving, understanding, right? Supportive. This is the nature of love itself. The mind doesn't understand this because love does not originate from within the mind. It's like this particular example, and I've used this example before as well too. Okay, here's a square. Here, somewhat of a cube. Okay? Now this two-dimensional square here is trying to get how this three-dimensional cube exists. I don't get that. I don't get how you could possibly exist. I don't see how you're the reality that you're telling me about, oh yeah, there's 3 dimensions. We have length, we have width, and we have depth. What the hell is depth? The hell does that mean? Come on, you're a phony, you're a fake, you're a fraud. There's no way. I'm telling you, this is how I exist. I exist as a 3-dimensional cube. You exist as a 2-dimensional square. And I'm telling you, if you truly want to understand my reality, you have to go here. Don't try and rationalize with this, because your mind is not calibrated into the dimension where I exist, where you can actually perceive me fully. Your mind's not calibrated to do that. It can't imagine it. It has no rapport with my dimension. So the little square here still gets a little bit confused, but he goes inside his heart, and he just starts to feel. He projects his energy towards this small instance of what the cube-like being can present within his respected reality. And now he's able to get this vision. Now he's able to get this feeling, this sensation that, oh my goodness, for 1 minute I saw you as a cube, but my mind doesn't get that. It doesn't get that. It doesn't get it. Right? Of course not. Your mind has to stay out of the equation. You are able to perceive my wholeness because of your love, because of your awareness, because of your consciousness. Right? So what we do is when we are working together with the state of love, we align to that energy and we enact through that energy. We start walking, we start talking, we start doing, we start performing. We do all of these acts because love itself is intangible. But of course, so are you. You're a soul. You're intangible, right? That's who you are. You're not just this instrument here, this body. You have a field. You have a field of energy. You have a consciousness. You have intelligence. You have a heart. I like to think so, anyways. Just kidding. Okay. Let's see. Put it right about here. There we go. You have a heart, all right? So, as you start working with your energy, the reason I say some people don't feel like they have a heart, well, some people that create these systems doesn't really feel like they do. But hopefully, those aren't the ones that are really trying to dig into this video. We really want to work together with those that are love, rather than those that are controlling. So working with your energy, working with yourself. This is again where I say that you are working with spirit manifestation, right? Spirit is coming through and working through your love and communicating with you and saying that just start giving the world love. Just start giving the world compassion. Yeah, but we gotta fight, we gotta fight, we gotta fight. Just let the actions be themselves. As you know, your ego cannot guide you. Your ego's too dumb. It doesn't know what's going on. The intellect doesn't get what's going on pertaining to this current situation. Right? So here you are with COVID. And many of us want to fight. We want to get up, we want to stand up, we want to fight, we want to resist, we want to retaliate, we want to just, put up our dukes. That's not the answer. That's not the way. This is the way. This is the key right here. Is its love, its heart, its compassion. Because love stands the test of time. It's not like old empires that have risen and then fallen, and other empires rise up and then fall, others rise up and then fall. Love is always steady. Love is always stable. Love is always infinite. Love has never faltered, not once, not ever. Never has it faltered. So when you work together with working with love, it can't fail you because it doesn't have this. It doesn't have the idea of this rise and fall, this bipolarism pertaining to empires. It has a steady course. It stands past the test of time. It stands past the test of space, of dimension, of matter, everything. This is how we embody it. We feel, we go within ourselves. So those of you with numb hearts, you have to work on caring about things. You have to work on yourself. You got to let go of this idea of feeling that you need to spend so much time with your job, with your career, with your 9 to 5, or with your parents, or with trying to convince people that you're right. You keep trying to convince people that you're right. You're basically just kicking yourself in the foot here, kicking yourself in the butt. Right? It's not about having to prove, come on guys, I'm right and you're wrong, and you better pay attention to me or else, etc., etc. You become no better than the very people that you are thinking that you're fighting against. Right? It's just an endless circle of rewind here. Our key here is being able to stand the test of time, to come into love energy, and to work together and to commit in making a change. Now, this is where the challenge comes in. Because, you see, as I stated, the lack system is not hard to clear out. If this was very, very difficult, then with my many videos in the past, guys, I would have gone through all kinds of complex equations, complex mathematics, rocket science, quadratic equations. It doesn't involve any of that, right? It's not an intellectual journey. It's the intellect that has been contaminated by lack that, again, acts as a virus. And that's the true virus here. It's not coronavirus, okay? True virus here is lack. That's what's contained in our mind. That's how we have been raised through all these systems that are upon the planet. Because like I stated, in order for a planet to feel like it's being enslaved, everybody, pretty much everybody on the planet, needs to believe that they are enslaved. They have to convince themselves that they're enslaved. They have to give permission for another person to come along and enslave them. That's so stupid. It's ridiculous, but that's how it works. Because nobody can truly come into your reality and tell you otherwise. They have to run these programs. They have to run these artificial systems to giving you some type of impression that you're enslaved, that you are worthless, that you can't do anything, that you're just a cash machine making money so we can take your money, etc., etc., etc. And all you do is get angry and get angry and get angry, and you do nothing about it, right? So now it's about dropping all of that. So the greatest challenge is the challenge to change, okay? Change is challenge. Challenge is change. So we have to move out of this two-dimensional square version of ourselves and come into this three-dimensional cube in that manner of speaking, because that's a metamorphosis. You may still have a two-dimensional square body, but now your energy, everything that represents your awareness, is in that three dimensions. And that's just an analogy. That again is moving into the state of love. You have a physical body, but love is leading the way. Spirit is leading the way. Happiness is leading the way, which means you want to commit to working to everything that you know has uplifted you. What has moved you into a higher state of upliftment? What has made you feel good when you come up to the summit? All right, well, I love nature. I love animals. I love my friends. I love my family. Great. I love driving my car. Great. Right? I love hiking. I love swimming. Great. These are all positive things. These are all wonderful things. How you want to harness that, and you want to make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, as I've talked about before, right? As you make your love stand past the test of time, you are now going to be able to dissolve the greatest virus that exists, and that is lack. It is lack, and through lack is fear, anger, sadness. There are traumas, abandonment, rejection, abuse, okay? There are illusions. We are shattering all of those walls. All of those walls are being destroyed. Because in order for us to do that, you have to go through this. You have to want to change. Now here's the way of many people. Some people do like to change. Some people don't like change because they feel that everything will become unearthed. They feel like everything will become unearthed. They feel like their reality will be turned upside down, and they feel that they will lose everything. Now, when you're going into a state of change, it's not that you're losing everything. It's that you're rising above things that you no longer prefer. So if all of your debris consciousness is down here in the valley, and you know this is what you don't prefer, and you start climbing, as I've talked about before, the 4 stages of human spiritual evolution, and the idea of levels of manifestation as well too. You start climbing up, Have you forgotten when you were down here? No. Guys, I've been doing this for 12 years, almost 12 years now. I have never ever forgotten where I came from prior to my spiritual awakening. Okay? I remember what I went through. I remember the people that were in my life. I remember the work I was doing. I had that life, and I still remember it. I have not forgotten it. Am I living in that world anymore? No, I am not. I'm not living in that world anymore. I'm not living down here in the valley with all this debris consciousness here. I have, over the years, moved my way up the mountain to get to the summit. I have not forgotten who I am, because this does not tell me who I am. My debris consciousness does not tell me who I am. Love stands the test of time. Love tells you more about who you are. That's the true you. When you come into a loving self, that's who you truly are. But you have to make the change to say, I'm going from lack, and I'm coming into love. I'm going to clear away my fear, because I'm going to be willing to see the world in a very different light. Because how you see it on CNN is not the world. How you see it on MSNBC is not the world. How you see it on Fox News is not the world. Any other mainstream media source, not the world. Prisms. That's what they are. Doctored prisms. Of saying, oh, well, this is how the world is. It's all a bunch of violence. Only thing you're ever looking at is someone else's perspective. You're looking at a journalist, if you want to call them that, their perspective in regards to how something is. And they can be manipulating, as we know, right? It's no secret there with the mainstream media. They keep secrets. They basically look at things in regards to how they want you to see it. That's part of the artificial program. That's part of the lack. That's part of the system. Hey, if you believe us, well, then you're just part of the voluntary slave that you have made yourself out to be. Because you have to convince yourself that you want to be enslaved. You want to be ruled. Because you keep feeding it. You keep feeding it over and over and over again. You keep feeding this lack over and over again. Look what they're doing to us, blah, 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 blah. And you get angry, and you get afraid, and you get depressed, and you get sad. And it's all going towards this and saying, go ahead. We want you to hate the mainstream media. We want you to hate us. What are you going to do about it? As long as you hate us, we got you. As long as you're afraid of us, we got you. As long as you're angry at us, we got you. You're just basically getting into your own primal emotions pertaining to the mainstream media. Okay? You want to have a big angry face right here? Erg. Right towards the MSM? Go ahead. We don't care. You're still tuning into us. You're still afraid of us. You're still angry. You're still depressed. You're still sad. You're still feeling apathetic. We got you. Because you keep tuning in. Because you keep talking about us. So we got you. You are a slave. Because we got you. Does not matter if you're mad at them, if you're sad at them, if you're angry at them, if you're depressed at them, whatever. That doesn't matter. They got you. Because that's all you're putting your thought into. I hate the mainstream media. You're still putting your focus into it. The mainstream media does this. You're still putting your focus into it. Right? So as long as you keep putting your focus into the lack machine, it's going to continue to dominate you. It's going to continue to do that because you're giving it permission to do that. You are making something. You're taking something out of clay and you're molding it together. And saying, oh, this is what I hate. Oh, it's dominating. You molded this out of your own clay. You sculpted this out of your own clay. And now you're afraid of the very thing that you've sculpted? That doesn't make any sense. You see how this is hilarious? You see how this is ridiculous? That's the true answer, guys, about how enslavement has come upon this entire planet. It's we who have enslaved ourselves because we have bought into the program, our ancestors have bought into the program, and we are now carrying forward the torch of our generation to attempt to clean all of that out. And in order for that to happen, You work with love, for it stands the test of time and beyond it. This is what needs to be done. Should you want to get out of this whole situation pertaining to lack, pertaining to mind that has been contaminated by that, and coming into a state of change where you start working with love, you start working with compassion, you start working with surrender, you start working with happiness, you start working with humility, right? Which means you're no longer getting into the primal instincts of feeling that you're getting angry about a system that, again, is all about artificiality, unnaturalness, enslavement, right? You're moving past that, which means you're walking through this world. There we go. You're walking through this world, but you are not a part of the world. You're just passing through, and you're just bringing as much love and as much happiness and as much joy and as much compassion to people as you walk through the world. You're not here to try and change anybody, because you can't. You can't change another person. You can only change yourself. That's how it works. So this is just a reminder to everybody that when you now start to move into a state of love, into a state of happiness, when you move into a state of joy and compassion, this is what's going to be the steady course. And change is all a part of it. You're going to want to have to change, right? That's something. Before you even decide to even walk down this path, you got to ask yourself, am I committed to change? Am I committed to liberating myself? Am I ready to go very deeply within myself, get past all these systems trying to tell me who I think I am because they're not even close, and go within myself and start decontaminating myself of lack? And what do? I use positive reinforcement. I go into love. I go into happiness. I start empowering. I start charging up my love energy. I start powering this up so strongly. I start moving myself into this higher elevation. I start going to the summit. I start bonding with spirit. I start bonding with God. I start bonding with the Creator. I start bonding with the higher self. I start bonding with the universe. And now I am radiating this pure love. And now spirit is just holding up its hand and saying, come on, dance with me. And I will lead the dance. As you dance with me, opportunities are going to come forward just through your intention alone. I want to get a new house. Okay, that's possible. I'll bring you opportunities. I want to meet the partner of my dreams. Okay, I'll make that happen. All of these things are now happening because you have surrendered yourself. You have basically taken all of your working muscles and they've gone limp. You are practicing the art of beingness. You are practicing the way of non-doing. And non-doing involves not using this to make your decisions, to lead your life, to guide you through life, because it can't. It's not fit for that task. Just like a two-dimensional cube can't get, logically, how a three-dimensional cube exists. It tries to use its brain power, can't do it, it's too stupid. But if it starts tuning into its heart, it starts connecting with it, and starts working with love, it gets an impression of its perception. It starts to perceive it through its experience. Oh my goodness, that was wonderful. Can I be like this all the time? Yes, completely, all the time, if you're dedicated to the commitment of loving, which means love yourself, love everybody, love the earth, love all. Compassion, joy, happiness. This is what it takes. So, we again have been programmed to believing that the mind is created to handle all this stuff. It's not. The mind is not the greatest thing. Okay? It's not. It's an invention. It holds, in that sense, certain forms of importance to us, but that's not what's used to liberate yourself. It's not the mind, guys. It's not the body. It's not the mind. It's your love. Your love is the purest energy. Your love is pure infinite intelligence. It's what the Indians would refer to as chitta when understanding the nature of the mind. It represents pure infinite intelligence. It's pure intelligence. It's pure consciousness. It's beyond anything that represents our physical understanding. But we can connect to this. We connect to that natural infinite intelligence. We connect to that pure conscious awareness, that pure intelligence that really cannot be defined. The cosmic intelligence as well too. Same thing. So when you move into the heart space and you align there and you're willing to change and you're going into yourself and you start looking at this pile of garbage, because that's what's inside you right now. As long as you have all this lack, you are looking at a heaping pile of garbage. Okay? Your body's filled with lack. It's filled with debris. It's filled with belief systems. It's filled with emotional wounds. You're scarred. You're scarred all over your body. And now you may look at this and say, oh my God, am I going to be able to clean this up? Look at this. It's like a gigantic tower of filth. Absolutely, because this is how powerful love energy is. When you start harnessing the power of love energy and you're looking at that gigantic pile of rubbish, that garbage, those debris, the belief systems, the emotional wounds, you work with love energy and love energy starts clearing it up very, very quickly through vantage points. Okay, this is another thing that I want to talk about as well, is regarding the idea of your healing process, as again, love stands the test of time. So when you have a pile of filth right here, this is debris, and here's you, because you think this is so gigantic, beyond yourself, you are at a certain vantage point looking at that debris. Okay, here's something with guilt. Here's something with fear, etc. You identify this through the nature of your own vantage point. You now start to bring a great deal of love energy in. Love energy is so enormous, it's able to take that and clear it out of yourself. I did it. I cleared away the guilt. I cleared away the fear. I feel so much better now. Great. But you're not done. Okay? Because each day, you're going to have different vantage points. You're going to have other vantage points that are going to come together, and you're going to look at this pile of debris from different vantage points. And you will discover different things. Here's depression, here's anxiety, here's sadness, here's a stiffness in my shoulder, here's a neck ache, here's a headache, here's stress, here's tension, here's abandonment, here's rejection, here's abuse. Because it's all just part of lack, which means you're dedicating each day to being aware of your vantage point about how you see your debris, how you see debris consciousness, how you see the lack within yourself. As soon as you identify it, you clear it, okay? BCR and TC technique. That's all you got to do. That's why I put it up here on this YouTube, okay? That's on my YouTube channel. If you guys have not seen it yet, the BCR and TC technique all in one, okay? Watch that video. So as you're going through all of these different vantage points, you're clearing away the debris. Because love is giving you a loving, a fresh, a wonderful, a compassionate perspective, helping to clear all of that out. Why does this have to happen through a multitude of different vantage points? Because we're linear in reality. We are operating in linear-based reality. As long as we're operating in linear-based reality, we are looking at everything from a different vantage point each and every single day. So we do a day's worth of clearing. Great job. That's you clearing out a certain vantage point. Next day comes, you wake up, all of a sudden you're feeling kind of depressed. You're feeling kind of miserable. You're feeling kind of angry. You got to look into it and saying, oh my goodness, something else came to me. This memory just came up. Something about a breakup. Something about financial hardship. This just came to me this morning. Of course, that's what your dreams are doing. Your dreams are buffering you. Your dreams are helping you to detoxify. Your dreams are bringing up all this regurgitation of debris from the core now to the surface, now into your awareness. And so every single day you wake up, there's a new thing to tackle. And over time, as you do this, if you can dedicate yourself to this, every single day, cleaning up these vantage points using the BCR technique, the TC technique, within a matter of weeks to months, this pile will be gone. It'll be all gone. And Brad, I'm completely free. Well, in a way, yes, but you want to be aware of what you're still bringing into your reality, because you'll still get some debris that may go past your filters. Okay? So you want to be aware of that and saying, am I still going into old habits? Am I still going into old addictions? Am I still going into old ways, belief systems that are still tackling this, right? So even though the pile of filth is gone, we're still looking into the mind now. We have to look at where all these cracks, crevices, where these belief systems, where these addictions, where these habits that we don't prefer exist, and we're cleaning out the mind as well too. We're detoxifying ourselves. And within a matter of months, you'll start to feel a great deal of improvement relating to your mind. Your mind will actually start to work with you. It knows when to be quiet. It knows when to step out of the way and when to be silent, so that you're now starting able to bring in love energy. Okay, this is what I've been able to work with my mind, is being able to detoxify the mind, knowing its patterns, and being able to clear out a lot of the debris contained within the mind. It's still an ongoing process, but it's certainly getting better. Okay, so this is all about your ability to change, your ability to commit. And if you're here to change, and if you're here to commit, then this is the right YouTube channel for you, right? Because this is what I teach. I'm here to teach those people who want to change. Okay? Whether you accept or reject my teachings, I don't care. I don't really care whether you're looking for that or not. What matters is your perspective. What matters is your truth. Okay, I share this in the best way that I can, and it's up to you guys. I'm not responsible for your life. I'm not looking to say that you guys have to worship me like this is some sort of religion or anything of that nature. It's not what's being said here, right? This is all just sharing. This is shared knowledge. It's applied knowledge. I always do these things personally before I share them on camera with everybody, okay? So this has to be your decision. This has to be your choice about making a change, about committing. Am I here to help? Absolutely. But you're the one that's going to change yourself. You're the one that's going to turn all this around. You're the one that's going to work even deeper with spirit, because there truly is just that one spirit, and we all connect to it. I connect to it in a very, very deep way because I work with spirit to clear out all this debris as well too. That's why I create the healing code cards, because you're talking to the one spirit. You're talking to God. You're talking to Creator. You're talking to Source. Whatever you wish to refer to it as is fine. Nonetheless, you are talking to that. And this is helping to clear out all this pile of debris, helping you to completely reshape the mind so that it's balanced, which means you have a mind, but there's no belief systems in it, which means your mind is now neutral, which means you no longer have a higher self. You no longer have a lower self. You have an all self, right? I'm no longer saying, oh, I'm going to talk to my higher self. Why would you want to talk to your higher self? Why not just talk to the entirety of yourself? Your higher self is a division. It's a compartment that's been created. Yes, we certainly have one, but that's because our mind is perceiving it that way. Our mind is perceiving a higher self. And so that's what we feel we have to connect to, because here's us as this tiny little lower self, and here's our great higher self. What happens when they merge? What happens when they unify? What happens when they become one? Are there any levels? No. How about when we hold an onion in our hands and we're not having to peel away layers anymore? Are there any layers? We're just seeing the entirety of the onion, right? It's the same thing with this, is rather than looking at a higher self and a lower self, the more that you're just simply working with the Spirit, with the God, with the consciousness, and you are clearing yourself up, you integrate. You become one. There is no lower and higher self. It's an all self. It's a unified self. It's a unified embodiment of everything that you are. And everything is now accessible because you've cleaned yourself up, because you're moving past the veil of illusions pertaining to separation. You're no longer contained in this veil of separation. My higher self says this and my lower self does that. right? Enough with the higher and the lower self. Come into the merging of consciousness. Come into unified consciousness. Come into unified self. Because your higher self is always a part of you. It's always going to be there. There has never been a point in your entire existence where the higher self hasn't been there. But you call it that because that's compartmentalization. Come into the all-self. The all-self has all levels, all dimensions, all realities, all densities, all facets of being. And now it's all accessible through that which we are. All right? So just something to look into as you go deeper into this state of change, to realize love stands the test of time and beyond it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you again in another perspective of the now. Take care. Thank you very much for checking out my channel. Below you'll see my links to social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also go to healingcodecards.com, pick up your own Healing Code Cards body deck, and of course check out my website at newearthteachings.com. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.